Any success stories of people who quit their job before looking for a new one? I am completely and utterly burnt out at my current job. There is no light at the end of the tunnel. I am struggling with forcing myself to do my job every day because every fiber of me is screaming that I don't want to be there. I feel like I really need to quit for my mental well-being, but I'm also afraid of it being more difficult to find a new job if I don't currently have a job. Can I hear some success stories to bolster my courage, please? I did about 5 years ago. I was not employed for about 6 months. I was doing some side work with my brother just to keep things afloat. Ended up finding a gig doing maintenance, then went back to school for HVAC. Found a better gig. Just put my notice in yesterday for an even better gig. I was a temp in a manufacturing facility that asked mechanics enough to start learning how the machinery works. 12 years later, and many examples of leaving without notice and finding a better job have me working as a mechanic in the industry with a better wage, better environment, and job security. I see many job ads for industrial maintenance as well. There's a pretty attractive climb in American manufacturing if you can find an in. Mostly these days, an eager applicant with basic mechanical aptitude can be taught most of the job. While I was looking over these past couple weeks, I was bombarded with job opportunities in the HVAC and maintenance industry. Finally decided to go with one in a union. Better pay, benefits, and more opportunity. It's a local company, so I am getting away from the corporate nonsense too. The company I'm leaving has 100K employees in the US alone. It is mind-boggling how poorly it's run. My wife is very sensitive to bullshit at her jobs. She hates injustices and huge egos. She quit twice without anything lined up. The first time it was quite painful. She spent around 7 months unemployed. The second time was easier, only 3 months, and that time she was hitting the gym quite regularly. I recently asked her if she regretted any of those resignations, and she said hell no. That's amazing, thank you. Your wife sounds like a badass. I was also thinking about taking the time to get back into the gym while looking for a job. I really need to reset my physical and mental health, which my current job has wrecked. Yeah, looking back, I see now that she made the right decisions. Always trust your gut. Hitting the gym really helped with her mental health. If I were you, I would try my best to find a better job. But I don't blame people who simply can't take it anymore and quit without another job waiting. Life is too short to deal with bullshit at work. Laying here in bed thinking the same thing about my job and my situation. Sick to my stomach thinking about dealing with my shitty and entitled customers, suddenly quitting WO a Plan B, savings. A new job sounds delightful, however may end up being stressful itself. I have one. A year ago, I was in a 70 hours week job. My boss spoke bad about me behind my back and tried to get the people against me. I went with kind of a bang, helped half of the people, like 14 people in total at the company, to get a new job and went without one for myself. It took me half a year to get a job within my field. Little savings and a supportive girlfriend kept me above water. Now I got a cool boss supporting me who acknowledged that I know my stuff. Got one person under me and no technical person above me. I can do stuff based on what I believe is best, while helping my dude to study while working under with me. That's great to hear. Your new workplace and boss sound HEAPS better and a healthier environment than the old. And going out with a bang, yes. Kudos on getting everyone else out too. I want to know more about the advantage of not having someone in your same discipline as a boss. I have been talking with a friend who took a new job. It's a good job, but her manager is in the same discipline as my friend. She says it's harder to get approval, and that she has lost autonomy that she is used to as she has to run everything by him, or at least she thinks she does. If you make an error, you can silently fix it without anyone noticing. You can't be replaced easily, and or fast your work feels nice because you feel as an important part, you can work goal-oriented. It is not important how you reach the goal. There is no one to evaluate it. They only see the finished version. You can manage your own time. You are down, take it slow. You have a fun project, heck yeah, some overtime. It is always a taking and giving. There are downsides too. Always remember to give as much as you take if you want to work long-term in this place. I've quit several jobs without a backup. One time I quit and 10 in the same day I got a call back for a job I wanted but got passed over 8 months before, so I took the job I quit. On that note, success or failure, you'll be alright. If you're asking internet stranger for support, well, quitting your job is just about as risky. Every single job I quit, I never left a 2 weeks notice. I always found a better job, whether it was in pay, closer to my field, culture, or whatever. My problem being is I take too long finding my next gig because I'm burnt out from the last workplace, and I only want to find something better in some way that worked for myself. Recently, I decided to quit my job in my field of study because I was overworked and my boss was a new business owner and didn't know what he was doing, which led to every problem imaginable. So I sold my luxury car, got a job at my nearby community college that is in walking distance after taking the summer off, all while self-loathing like after a bad breakup. And I'm practically paid to do very little work with a manager who tells me good work at every little thing. I'm in a room of great people who are like-minded and share a ton of the same interests. And I went out of my way to buy expensive cheeses for a dope Mac and cheese for today's potluck for the before Thanksgiving break because I appreciate them so much. It's not a long-term career plan and I need more of an income. But I'm very lucky to have finally found a workplace that is great and has a union I can join. I did once in my 20s. I was moving to NYC with my girlfriend and took 3-4 trips to the city for job interviews, but none of them landed, so I had to just move without one. My partner had work lined up and we had a little savings, not a ton though. It took 2-3 months before landing something. It was a shit place, but I stayed for about 5 months and found something else. Not sure if I would do it again if I was in a high cost of living area. I basically live in the woods now and can scale back my expenses quite a bit if needed, and I have good savings. So I guess it depends on your situation and how in demand your line of work is. I quit 17 months ago with nothing lined up. I relaxed for a week, then landed on a job way below my skill set. It was easy, no stress, and I made enough to get by. About 6 months later, everything fell into place. I'm still working, making decent money, and I'm not totally hating life. It's not the greatest story, but it's better than what I was going through with the previous job. I have done it 2 times. Other times I purposely got fired. Either way, I made sure that I had enough saving 6 months at least and a second part-time income until I found a full-time job. Right now, though, I wouldn't do it because my savings is not as great as before and I do not have a second income. Again, just needs a little planning. Mental health comes first. Remember, it is totally okay to say no to anything. Stand up for yourself. Ask to talk to HR, etc. Document everything. You have rights. Unfortunately, many jobs involve toxic people that play games, and passive aggressiveness is also common. Put in mind not to take anything personally. Sounds easier said than done, but 9/10 those people are also being treated that way, so they have adapted to be like that as the norm. You have to ignore their remarks or repeat what they say back to them and look them dead in the eyes and say nothing. They will quickly correct themselves or watch them get nervous and leave you alone. Again, each instance you just have to give it back to them right then and there. It takes practice and patience. At the meantime, apply to 10 jobs daily on your phone at work. Use their time. Last December, I relocated for a new job. I was excited because it was hybrid and 35 HRS/WK. Come to find out, there was overtime involved, lots of overtime, and in addition to the duties I'd regularly performed in the role before, there were lots of additional tasks I'd be responsible for, plus a fairly demanding clientele. After my 90 days review, which was actually at 100 days, I found out I still wasn't completely trained on the job after much OT and sleepless nights, plus my much less experienced coworker was making $5,000 more. I put in my 2 weeks. The people themselves were actually great. It was just a poor fit for me. Had I not been so stressed, I would have stayed until they filled the position. 6 weeks later, I started a new job that was a much better fit. I enjoy the work as much as my coworkers, and it's WFH. I think a lot of it depends on your job and the area. I had a friend workers in manufacturing, quit his job on the Wednesday when he fell out with his manager. By 9 a.m. Thursday, as soon as the office opened, he had a new job and a Monday start date. Again, there's a lot of manufacturing jobs in the area, and he's worked there before, so they know him. Have a feel around, see what's put there is my advice. I let my military contract expire and took a year off collecting employment insurance so I could turn back into a human being. After that, I went to college and am now making significantly more money than I was and doing much less stressful work. I've done it a few times, saved up some money, quit my job, went traveling the Caribbean a few months, and went back home and watched Netflix a couple of months. Started working again after that, first some fast-paying shit jobs, and then after a few months somewhere where I could get a better paycheck. This time around, I've been on parental leave for 2 years. The company I worked for laid off a lot of people, and I chose a severance pay. Got 8 months of paid salary and around 9K of saved vacation pay. My rent is 1K per month. Total cost about 3K USD. I wouldn't recommend this if you're looking for a career. Most of my friends work as CEOs for small companies or CFOs. But hey, life is about more than that. I wanted to spend time with my kids, especially since my wife couldn't handle the mom role when they were really small, up to 1 year. She didn't understand them, plus she had a small depression after birthing. My last manager did that. He had 35 direct reports as well as a slew of corporate initiatives he was responsible for. He was burnt out and he told people. Then his boss, the new and incompetent director, called him into his office with HR there, and they started giving him shit about underperforming or something. He quit on the spot. Now he is a director at a good company. I'm sorry to hear that. You should always prioritize your mental health and your well-being. I quit my job before I had another one lined up before, but I was fortunate enough to find another one within 2 months. I'm also an accountant, so there are always jobs for accountants. I hope you will eventually find a job you will truly enjoy because it's very important. I like my current job because the people I work with are amazing and smart. I'm probably the stupidest one in the group lol. Every single job I've had since my mid-20s, but there is a caveat to keep in mind. I'm a software engineer with a fairly broad set of skills, but the majority of my career has been spent working with a particular development tool, and I have become extremely good at it. To my surprise, this absolutely terrible piece of trash software is still in wide use today. Therefore, my skills have been in demand since as far back as I can remember. No self-respecting software developer wants to work with this product. It's literally a piece of shit. I have tons of other experience too, C++, Java, Python, Ruby, etc. But this product has made it difficult to remain unemployed. Unfortunately, and I mean no disrespect to my colleagues, developers are a dime a dozen. So my advice, if you want to be able to walk out of a company when you want to, find yourself something loathsome that no one else will do, then become the best at it. I put in my 2-week notice at my last job full, intended on leaving in hopes they'd offer me more money for the work I was doing. They ended up firing me so they paid my unemployment, till I found my current job in which I now make 50% more than I was making at the last place, and I got back in the IT field like I've been wanting to. They never filled my position, they're just added my work onto others, and they are swamped like a mofo. I had the financial means to be able to last some time, without a job or unemployment, so unless you can pay bills, I'd suggest look for a job before leaving your current. I went through bankruptcy earlier in the year after such long-term burnout that I literally was not coping. I sold my house and moved across country to live with a friend and take care of my mental health. I transferred between work locations, hoping to keep doing a job I loved with less drama. Around the same time, there was a change in management at the location I transferred to. I gave it 6 months for the new management and the old staff to get their acts together and stop making things harder than they needed to be. It didn't happen, so I gave them my resignation. It wasn't worth the stress of being stuck in the middle of their bickering, even though I loved the job. I'm lucky to have some savings from my house sale and a wonderful friend who has encouraged me to take care of myself first. Eventually, I'll find what is next work-wise, but for now, I'm focusing on myself. My friend suggested reading What Color is Your Parachute to help me figure out what I want. I highly recommend it. I have done it a few times, and I would say on average it takes about 2-3 months to find something else. The more money you make or need, the harder it can be to find something lateral or better, but you really never know. Depending of where you are, now might not be the best time to quit if you're making a good salary and don't have savings. It's all about how much you have saved. If I were to look back at the times that I had impulsively and or thoughtfully quit a well-paying position, I would tell myself to have another job lined up before doing so. From what I am hearing and seeing, I think the first few quarters of 2023 are going to be tough. The stress of not having a job and having to pay the bills may or may not be worse than how you feel now. Sorry to be a downer. I got let go in May from a dead-end job I had for 10 years. I was looking for a new job before the pandemic, but then decided it was best to shelter in place. And 6 months later, I just got hired in the administrative offices at my city's zoo. It is easily the best job I've ever had, and a $13K salary bump from my previous job. Go forth and find better things. The job search is rough, but it can't be much rougher than slogging through a job you hate. Plus, you can always take a job temporarily to pay bills until you find something you really want. Sadly, my wife's cousin did this and never did find another good job because he wasn't employed. Ended up breaking up their marriage, which really hurt their 2 children who turned to alcohol and drugs. Look, you need to talk to a counselor about your issues, unless a manager at work you trust may be able to help. You are burned out and overstressed either with work or real-life issues. You may be the lucky one in the end, but if you are already at this stage of burnout, it is highly doubtful you would be in any shape to interview for a better job. You have my prayers you will come through this.